This is a perfectly good ladder. This even makes a scaffold for you. I just found this in the local dump. I went to recycle some stuff, and again, people throw the most amazing things away. Of course, I got to test it, but I don't see any indication there's any damage here. And then this is a vintage style table saw, and it's obviously vintage because it doesn't even have a ground on it. But I'm going to see if I can get this thing running. It's obviously not been used in a while, it looks like. But I'm surprised, ultra surprised. I mean, look at this vintage color. It's just amazing. So I got, what is this, $150 ladder at least. And I don't know how much this is worth. It depends on the person that's going to buy it, but it's a beautiful piece. Let's get it out of the truck. Excuse everything laying around here. This is a moving situation. So we got a lot of boxes that are going on with the move, but I figured out what was wrong with this thing. This is why they threw it apart. First of all, you got to maintain these things. You can see there's a lot of corrosion here, but this locking mechanism was pushed down and it wouldn't retract to re-lock. So when I was trying to open it up to extend it, I wanted to try to make a scaffold out of it. It wouldn't open up all the way. So what I did was pull this arm out. It just slides right in, and it has a dowel, like you can see this edge right here. There's a dowel opening, and I'm gonna have to get a pair of pliers to straighten this so it will go in. But when I pulled this out and then extended the ladder out, both of these locking pins or locking mechanisms went to where they're supposed to be. So I'm gonna put this back in, and hopefully that resolves it. I think somebody was trying to make something work that was all corroded and jammed up, but we're gonna find out in a second. And I need to make sure this thing is safe because I don't wanna get on top of it and then that fails. The locking mechanism on the center joint here is not working properly, and that's why it was in the junk. So this thing will not lock in the open position even when pulling this arm. It should pull this down and it should lock it down at this location here, down and then over. It's not doing it properly on either side. I think it probably got jammed up, and instead of oiling it, the previous owner just forced it. It probably caused some damage or issues inside here. So I'm gonna let it sit with the WD-40 in there for a while and see if that improves it. Otherwise, it's going back to the junkyard. Now let's go take a look at that table saw. Now for the saw next to my electrolysis bucket, I've got it hooked into a power strip that I can turn on and off easily without causing any problems with the house. I'm gonna turn it on, and it's working. So this thing is working. I'm not sure why they got rid of it, but it is making a lot of racket, so probably some adjustments, and also the belt's a little loose, so we'll figure out how to take care of that. But it's a nice vintage unit. If nothing else, it'll look good sitting on the shelf. Now that I know it's working, I'm gonna do some basic checking of this. Now what we have here is a Power King saw that's made in Warsaw, Indiana. And here we have an American Piano Company motor made expressly for by Westinghouse Electric Company. I love it, American made stuff. So what I need to do is tighten up this motor because the motor is shifting, which is causing that belt to be loose. If I can tighten it down on this base, then hopefully the belt will be tight and it'll run a little better. I'm gonna end up putting a grounded wire on here. I'll probably put a ground to here. This is just too old, unfortunately. It's the vintage wire. But I'm gonna take these 4 screws out, which screws it to the base. That'll let me take the whole thing up, and I think that the motor bolts to the base from underneath, and we'll see if we can't get that tightened up. Base is removed, and I was surprised to find out that this is wood, but these screws, Phillips head screws, are definitely loose. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these up, and that'll tighten the base up, and hopefully that will make the belt tighter and operation a little bit more smooth. Not immediately fixable now. It's not that it's a big problem, but whoever built this put the wrong size bolt in here. The threads are too loose. So I went in my stash and I found the proper size, but it won't work. I need to countersink it, so I'm gonna have to go to Lowe's or some hardware store to get these so that it countersinks in here, and that should definitely tighten it up. So that's my big issue. Can't finish it at the moment, but we're gonna get this thing running, and I'm gonna look up these parts to see if there's any history associated with this, especially how this thing operates. I don't even know what this hose is for. It's kind of interesting. I wonder if it's to blow dust away from here, but I'm not sure. But I'm sure looking it up will tell me. Found a couple Allen screws that work perfectly. They're countersunk, so that is nicely tight. I'm just gonna have to assemble it on the top of this wood base. I did a little research on this. It turns out that this was built in the 1940s, so this thing has seen a lot of years, 80 years old. So this makes me very surprised that people throw things like this away. It's really an antique. You can look at the construction of this. It's just heavy duty. I got to do a little bit more research to figure out what some of this stuff is for, but it still runs after 80 years. So I'm going to go ahead and mount this now and test it out again. And I might need to do a few adjustments on it, but what I think I'm going to do is just put it up on the shelf because I think it's just cool to look at. Motor's reconnected, and I had to make one adjustment here. Whoever had it before had this connection here too spread out, so it was banging up against this and that was making the noise. Now it's nice and smooth. We can go plug it in and check it out. Belt's tight now because I've got all the bolts tight, screws tight, so I think it's ready for use again. And there's our final home. That hose is definitely something that blows dust away from the blade, but probably not going to use this thing. It's definitely a work of art sitting up here on my shelf. Hope you enjoyed this video. Give me that thumbs up. I'll see you next time on Driving Intelligence.